All right, welcome back to the Blissful Athlete, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We are live. It is Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And today we got a big celebration going on. It's Diwali, one of the biggest Hindu festivals of the year, celebrating the victory of light over darkness. And it could be one of an appropriate time to celebrate this, I feel like. So today I want to dive into a few Q&As that I've missed over the past. Since last week, I had a bunch of questions that I didn't get to. And so we'll dive into some of those Q&As. And again, if you're here live right now, feel free to ask questions throughout. I'll do my best to answer those too. And I'm going to start this video off, though. Somebody was asking me why I decided to become Hindu. I thought, well, what a perfect question to answer in the video. Kishan, hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. Danny, how are you? You are echoing, and the quality is very rough. I've been having a lot of trouble with this audio lately. Let me just get one test run in here. Okay, we're going to try with headset here. How does that sound? Is that better, everybody? Test. Headset is good quality. Okay. Dang, I'm really trying to up my game for you guys. I really am. I'm getting all this equipment and trying to change things up just to make the quality better for everybody. So I apologize about that. Thanks for letting me know that the audio wasn't all that great. But anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about why I became Hindu, and I also had a really, really interesting experience yesterday that I had to share. If you're a Hindu or want to know a little bit about why I'm Hindu, this is definitely a video for you guys. So if you give me about 10 minutes of your time this morning, I promise it'll be worthwhile. And then again, now we'll jump into some Q&A. So the question of why I became Hindu it's really interesting because I never really signed up for something and said, okay, I'm going to be a Hindu now. And I never really had this moment of conversion where I decided to move on beyond a different religion. What was really interesting to me was the understanding of science, the modern science of quantum physics. Quantum physics is so interesting. And for me, understanding what the unified field was, the fact that we would have this opportunity or that quantum physics is showing us that reality is not what it all seems, that at the base of all matter, what's holding it together is an intelligent mind. And this was discovered at the beginning of the 1930s by Max Planck. And he was talking about that all reality, all matter is held together by an intelligent mind. And today, what quantum physicists are calling the unified field, which is all pervading, it's all powerful, it's conscious, it has an intelligence of its own. It's within me and it's within everything else. Whether it's a rock, a plant, there's been studies proving that plants have the ability to perceive and have their own awareness. So for me, when I started to understand that science, then I really understood. I started to dig deeper into all these other spiritual teachings, and Buddhism and meditation was naturally very interesting because the meditation practice is all about coming into yourself and going beyond this self-identity. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I definitely want to be practicing meditation. And so I started, and I had a lot of interesting experiences. And then I kept seeking, and I came across yoga. And yoga was this union of this consciousness, of this body, uniting with the cosmic consciousness. It was this process of uniting me with the cosmos, that the divine, this unified field that pervades everywhere, is also within me. And so this journey, this yogic journey, was all about me just transcending this ego, transcending what I perceive myself to be what I truly am, which is the cosmos, which is the divine. I didn't realize that this was one of the main principles of Hinduism at the time. And so I was becoming a Hindu without already knowing it. And the more that I learned about yoga, the more that I learned about modern science as well, the two just merged together beautifully. And then I started to realize that the way of life, Sanatana Hindu Dharma, was already lived thousands and thousands of years ago. If you go back, you can find all these ancient cities under the sea, under the water. Some carbon dating material 7,000, 10,000 years old. And I started to realize, okay, so we lived this lifestyle a long time before something happened, and it looks like there was a great flood, but ultimately we lost it. And now this discovery, this journey, is all about recovering this lost lifestyle. And I started to like see this as a truth of reality. Like nobody can deny that there is ancient cities beneath the ocean floor, or beneath the ocean surface. We can see them. And we can see that they were put together with technologies that modern man still can't construct today. My brother's in construction. He's like, that's insane. It's like, no, there's no way that we can do any of this today still. So there is an intelligence, there is technology that we still do not have today. And on the flip side, there's all these ancient scriptures that are said to be passed down from master to disciple. And they go back, they date thousands and thousands of years. The Charaka Samhita, the core text of Ayurveda, is known for being 5,000 years old. It's proven 5,000 years old. And this is just one text. And there are literally millions of these texts, supposedly, according to Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And so the more I started to just bring all of these things together, I was like, okay, this seems like legit. This is how humanity should be operating. And this is how we were operating. And so I just started to bring in all these concepts and start to practice them and experience them myself. And one thing led to another. And sure enough, I come across my guru, Bhagavan Nithyananda, as you can see in this image, and who I am always talking about, who I decided to go and live with in his ashram for 3 years, because it got to a point where I'm like, this is the way life should be lived. I want to learn how to live this more. I want to embrace this as much as I can. And I realized that Sanatana Hindu Dharma it's a celebration of life. It's not just about you uniting with the cosmos, and that's the only purpose. And you have to enjoy the ride. You have to enjoy the journey as well. And that's one thing that my guru really, really showed us. That you can enjoy the ride. You can enjoy this experience of life along the spiritual path. It doesn't need to be where you just sit and you practice meditation for 5 to 10 hours a day, and that's it. And that's life. Life is a celebration in general. And this really resonated with me because, I mean, I love to have fun. I like to go out and hang out with friends and enrich others. And the more that I learned about Sanatana Hindu Dharma and the most authentic way to live it through my guru, the more I just fell in love with it. And I realized, I guess I should say, that I was always a Hindu. That deep down, we are all Hindu. We are all individual aspects of consciousness. We all have Atman. We all have an individual soul, and our journey, this purpose of life, is to ultimately unite with Brahman. And this just made so much sense for me. I never believed that, when we die, we just go to heaven and then that's it. It's like checkout time, and you step on a scale, or you get weighed and you either go to heaven or hell. For me, that just never clicked. But it makes so much sense that, this body is just like a t-shirt. It can be taken off and I can get a new t-shirt on once my consciousness is no longer able to operate in this system. And really, like, we truly are living in the most incredible holographic universe. And this is what the modern science is showing, that this is a holographic universe. It's tough for us to understand, but everything that I'm taking in, my perceptions, my senses, this is just information being sent to my brain from my consciousness to then experience. And this is what yoga is. This is what Sanatana Hindu Dharma is. It's enjoying this Maya, but being detached from it and not getting too caught up with it, and knowing that there's a deeper purpose to life and to being here. And so for me, I really, really was just overwhelmed with each thing that I started to learn and started to embrace and started to experience. One thing led to another. As I said, I went to India, and I always joke, like, I really do feel sorry for people that are practicing Kundalini yoga and are trying to get this experience of yoga, but they're going about it their own way. When for me, I just showed up to one program with my guru, and he just awakened my Kundalini, and it just sparked up. And here, this teaching that I learned about Kundalini. I learned that there's this dormant energy within me, and that yoga is you're supposed to awaken it through tapas. But I never learned the scripture that with the guru's grace, he can just awaken this dormant snake and it just can stand up. And that's exactly what my experience was. And then I came across that scripture. And so that's really like my journey in a nutshell of why I became Hindu. It wasn't really a choice. It was just like one experience after another that made me realize that there is something deeper to this reality. And so I feel so blessed to have come across it now. And I'm, as I said at the beginning, I had a really interesting experience yesterday. My wife and I, we went down to a part in Los Angeles, a little India type area. And we were going around shopping to get a few things for Diwali. Today is Diwali. We're going to be celebrating. And so we were going from shop to shop, and we were exiting one shop. We were actually about to leave, and we were walking out of the store, and we were walking towards our car. And this other lady I saw, she was dressed in Indian attire. She was also Caucasian, and she was about in her 50s or so. She started to angle us off and basically like to approach us and to start a conversation. And she said, "You don't look like you're from around here." And we're actually not. We're like from like 45 minutes away or so. So I've never met her, no idea who she is. And she goes, "You're not from around here, are you?" And we're like, "No, we're a little bit away actually." And she said, "Oh, well, I'm Dolores." And I said, "Oh, nice to meet you, Dolores." And she said, "Well, you look like you're Indian. You look like you're living the lifestyle. You have your Rudraksha on." And I was like, "Yeah. We lived in India for three years with in an ashram." And she's like, "Oh, very nice, very nice." And then she said a line in Hindi, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't pick up what she said. I knew a few words here and there, but she said a full-on line in Hindi, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know what you said." And I said, "Where did you learn that?" And she said, "Oh, we learned it from the meetings." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought maybe that there was Hindi classes for people that are interested in Hinduism. And she said, "We learned it from the meetings." And I was like, "Oh, what meetings?" And she said, "The Jehovah Witness meetings. There's two every week." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And like, I was taken back. I didn't know what to think about it. Here she was dressed in Indian attire, and she was a Jehovah's Witness and learning Hindi. And I guess she went on to say that every 2 weeks, or sorry, every week they have 2 classes a week to learn the Hindi language so that they can convert Hindus into Jehovah's Witnesses. I was shocked. looking back, I didn't know what in the moment I was kind of frozen. And when we left, I was just like, are you kidding me? I said to my wife, I wish in that moment that I said what came to my mind, and that is, I really don't agree with that. She's dressing up, pretending to be Indian, learning the language in order to convert people into Jehovah's Witnesses. And her only intention is to do that. So she's dressing like she's Hindu and has this intention to convert people into a different religion. And just so you people, I don't know if everybody knows, but Jehovah's Witnesses, they're an offshoot of Christianity. They have a core belief that only 144,000 people are going to be going to heaven. They don't celebrate birthdays. They don't celebrate, from my understanding, they don't celebrate anything really, maybe a few things, but nothing basically. And we actually walked past a few of her other Jehovah Witness people, and they were just literally standing there, like no expression on their face. 4 or 5 of them, they were just standing there, and they didn't like that. They just looked like zombies in a sense. And I was just so taken back because Hinduism is the ultimate celebration of life. You celebrate absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Today, we're celebrating the victory of light over darkness. And I can't help but think of this lady who gave me her name, Dolores. I can't help but think of Dolores and think about how deluded she is. How and how I really feel it's almost disgusting that she's dressing up as a Hindu in order to convert people into Jehovah's Witnesses, not just people, but Hindus who celebrate everything about life. And here she is converting them, attempting to convert them, learning the language, getting into their literally their area of the city, Little India, in order to bring them to their religion to not celebrate a single thing. And I thought that is so sad. That is not at all what life is about. I'll be straight up. I do not 100%. I am against Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't agree with the religion at all. I feel life is for celebrating, and for me, Sanatana Hindu Dharma is the ultimate way to celebrate life. And I really don't care what somebody says about that. And I really just wish in that moment that I said to Dolores that I really don't agree with you. And I really think that's wrong. I really think that's kind of disgusting, actually, to dress as a Hindu in order to bring people to your religion, to not celebrate a thing. And it's just really disappointing. And if you're a Hindu, or maybe you're somebody that's interested in becoming Hindu, understand 2 things. One, life is for celebration. Celebrate the journey the whole way. Be blissful as much as possible. And 2, there are people that are out to get us. Literally. For thousands of years, India has had a target on its back from I don't know how many different sects, how many different religions, how many different missions. The backbone of India is Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and it is barely surviving. And so, in my opinion, if you are interested in Hinduism, just begin living it, and you will begin to experience what I'm talking about. You'll experience this liberation, this freedom, this joy for life. And at the same time, I would say don't worry about those that are actively trying to convert you, actively trying to beat you down, actively trying to say that you're living in a cult, because they don't know a thing. They don't actually understand what Sanatana Hindu Dharma is. There's a lot of people that I'm coming across or learning of that have gone to a couple of my guru's programs, never gone to India, but went to a couple of the programs and temples, and now they're speaking out against this cult. And it's just like, they don't understand the religion. They don't understand. It's not even a religion. Like, you can choose whatever you want it to be. There are hundreds and thousands of gods, and you can make the lifestyle what you want. You can worship literally whoever you would want as how you relate to God. You can relate to God in a lot of different forms: mother, father, guru, through various different deities. And so please, 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 oh Hindus, stand up and just be proud of the lifestyle that we get to live. You have the understanding, we have the cognition that life is not, life is so much more than what we think it is. It is to achieve this ultimate union with Brahma, with Paramashiva, to live in a state of eternal bliss and just to enjoy and radiate that space and to enrich humanity, to constantly go on enriching. And one person asked me, why did I start a YouTube channel? Because I feel, from my experience, I lived a very shallow, depressed life. I went out and drank at the bars and partied and chased girls around, and my ego was constantly wanting to just feel like I was being celebrated, to feel like life was like I just wanted to gain more things. I wanted to add more and more to my ego. I wanted the big house. I wanted the materialistic lifestyle. But that's not at all what life is about. I was an atheist, and to shift from this living that lifestyle to the lifestyle that I am today, to understanding that everything is me. You watching this are me. I understand that. I cognize that. I cognize that we are all the same being, mirroring one another. So when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. And all I would ever want to do for me is to enrich myself. I want to go to the gym to increase my health. I want to gain wealth to live more abundantly. I want you to be more healthy then. I want you to be more abundant. I want to enrich you to be more peaceful, to have less depression, less anxiety, less stress. I live life for you because you are me. This is what I cognize. And because I have this understanding, and I understand that today everybody's on their phones, everybody's on social media, what better place for me to speak to my reflections, to get your attention, yes, but to enrich you and to only try and add more positivity to your life, to increase your life, to make you more happy in some way. So every day, my intention is to only enrich others. I'm not here to convert anybody. I'm not here to say, practice this religion or, come buy my stuff. I've never actually been a big fan of any of that. And that's not what the Sanatana Hindu Dharma lifestyle is. We don't convert. There's no conversion. There is you understanding that you're a spiritual being. There is that you understand that cosmos, the divine, Paramashiva, God, however you want to call it, the unified field, does exist. And that life is this journey of constant union with that divine expression, outside and inside. And this is what yoga is. And this is why I fell in love with yoga and teaching yoga and practicing and embracing all these different truths. And so that is really why I decided to start a YouTube channel. I mean, everybody's on social media anyways. You probably have a Facebook account, an Instagram. I think it's just a matter of time until a vast majority of people have YouTube channels as well. And I think I just got a little bit of a head start on some people. But ultimately, I'm just here to enrich you and to do my best to add life to you, to bring more love and happiness to your life as well. So that's why I'm here. And so I'll leave it at that today. I'll jump into some of the questions that I got last week, and then we'll dive into some other things or some other questions that I'm seeing here today, which I know that there's a lot. So I'll do my best to get to those. One thing I wanted to talk about was somebody asked me why I don't practice Kriya Yoga or what my thoughts are on Kriya Yoga. And Kriya Yoga it's an incredible practice. This is what Paramahamsa Yogananda's mission was about, to have others teach or live the lifestyle of Kriya Yoga. And it certainly has its place. But my guru, much like all these other masters, they all have different teachings, different lessons. And for each individual, we have a different path. And so Kriya Yoga is not a key component of what my guru teaches. He teaches pranayama, but it's incorporated in our yogasana practice, the Pratama Vinyasa Krama, the 108 asana sequence. So there's no specific time where you go and you sit down and you practice a certain pranayama, etc. And what I want you to understand is that, as I said earlier, Hinduism has different ways. There's tons of different paths. Gurus have different teachings, and they all can actually contradict one another. Because Paramahamsa Yogananda, an incredible master, comes here to the West, teaches Kriya Yoga. But in the Guru Gita, in verse 53, Lord Shiva himself says, and I'll read this quote, "What is the use of undeveloped seekers spending so much time practicing hundreds of rounds of long, deep breaths in order to regulate the life force? What is the use of this? These exercises can be uncomfortable and are difficult to master. Indeed, such unguided practice can disperse the life force, causing disorders. Instead, just serve your guru constantly, and you will attain mastery over the life force naturally and spontaneously. It will become regulated of its own accord." So Kriya Yoga, the practice of regulating life force energy, prana, dispersing it throughout our body, living from this life force energy, has its purpose. Paramahamsa Yogananda came to the West and taught this practice. But there's also Shastra Pramana, Lord Shiva himself, the creator of the cosmos, stating that, yes, Kriya Yoga, it does do what it's supposed to do, but there's actually a simpler way, and that is serve your guru. Because each individual, you have to understand that, for instance, if you go to the gym and you sign up and you want a personal trainer, your personal trainer is going to learn everything about you. They should know what time you go to sleep, what your diet is like, how many days you're willing to come to the gym, etc. They know exactly everything about you. And then based off of your personal plan or your personal makeup, they'll create a specific training program. This is all the guru is. They know you to your depth, to your core, but not just like what you eat and what time you go to bed. They know how far to push you. They know what your patterns are. And so guru can always increase life force energy in a much quicker, much more fluent way than just sitting and practicing Kriya Yoga, especially when it's unguided, when you feel that this is the path. I see these scriptures, this is what it says, this is what I need to do. Yes, it has its place, but I always use the example, you can awaken Kundalini, but that's like you can awaken your own Kundalini, but that's like taking two stones and beating them together. It'll take a very long time for the spark to happen, and hopefully you have all the hay there, and then all of a sudden the flame will start, right? From my experience and what the scriptures say, guru can just awaken your Kundalini just like that. And that's exactly what happened for me. I didn't practice years of Kundalini yoga. I went to a program, I sat down, and all of a sudden I felt this spark shoot up, and I knew without a doubt it's Kundalini, it's awakened. So I do not practice Kriya Yoga specifically because that's not what my guru is teaching. That's not a part of his daily, I should say, not task, but that's not a part of what his disciples do on a daily basis. Kriya Yoga, or pranayama, I should say, is an aspect, is a component of our yoga, our daily yoga sequence, though. And so that is my take on Kriya Yoga. And if you're a practitioner of Kriya Yoga, I have nothing against that. Continue doing that. I'm just saying this is what I've come across, and this is what my experience is as well. There's another good question I wanted to get to. And then again, I see everybody's, actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll answer one of these questions first, then I'll jump back to last week's, okay? First of all, thank you so much if you have tuned in for this session. I apologize about the audio at the beginning. as I said, I'm working on increasing this technology for you all. So I appreciate your patience with that. Let's see if I can find a good one here. Happy Diwali, Sepko. Thank you. Happy Diwali, everybody, as well. Solevo. I am really sorry for you and your wife. Also, if you see later that Nithyananda is not the guy who it seems, I am sure that you, wife, and you really love each other and will stay together. Yeah, so everybody seems to know from never going to one of Swamiji's programs that he is not who he seems to be, but they've never met him in person. So for individuals that are saying these things from never experiencing him or even just going to a temple, I really do, I respect your opinion, but it's meaningless to me. You can't, you're sitting in the peanut gallery. It's like, it's your opinion is irrelevant because I've experienced Kundalini awakening, I've experienced third eye awakening, I've experienced enlightenment, I've experienced Satori, I've experienced all of these things. And so somebody to be coming from outside of me saying, but one day you'll realize he's not real. Like, that's irrelevant to me. I know he's real. I know what my experience is. I know that people are lying, making up things. So I appreciate you looking out for me. I really do. But that also is irrelevant to me. Everybody that is saying Happy Diwali, such as Ramesh, Happy Diwali to you too. Hopefully you guys are going to go out and celebrate and enjoy. Elham, you as well. Happy Diwali. Let's see. Yes, Solevo. You are the one that asked the first question. Also, for those people who seek for knowledge and wisdom, please read the books of Dr. Joe Dispenza, a real scientist who brings spirituality and science together. You don't need a guru like this. Everything you said up until the last line, I would completely agree. Dr. Joe Dispenza is awesome. What he's doing is he's merging the world of not just spirituality and science, but in particular, what I love is how he's showcasing DNA expression in particular. And I just talked about this yesterday in my live stream with Ashutosh Ananda Maharaj, that Dr. Joe Dispenza he's showing the power of epigenetics, which is that our consciousness has the power to overturn our DNA, that we're not just locked to this mechanical system that is our DNA, that, just because we are born and our father and mother have certain DNA that we're going to get breast cancer or that we're bound to get a certain disease by a certain age. That's not at all the case. That we can change the expression of our DNA. We can change the outcome of our lives. We can alter the very blueprint of our identity. And this is what my guru is doing as well. He's merging, he's speaking from the spiritual side. Dr. Joe Dispenza is speaking from the scientific side. And so I think science definitely has its place, and it's beautiful to see the two coming together. Excuse me. And as I said, this is what brought me to Hinduism, is the understanding of modern science as well. Danny. Danny says she's very close friends with Joe Dispenza, was even at the birth of his daughter. Joe has great knowledge of Westerner, but his knowledge stops at him. Yes, he's an incredible being. I think he's got a very good handle on spirituality, and he is teaching it in his own unique way. But at the same time, I caution a lot of people, because I'm not saying Joe is doing this, but there is a tendency of this cultural appropriation. For instance, if somebody's teaching meditation or yoga, they're teaching practices that originated from Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Let me just get this call, one sec. All right. Sorry. Thank you for your patience on that. Sorry for the technical glitches, my guru would say. Osho is great. Yeah. I've been talking a little bit about Osho recently as well to some people, and his teachings of meditation and Tantra. My wife is reading one of his books as well at the time at this time. So we're also big believers and supporters of Osho, not OSHA. Okay, I'll jump to one of last week's questions as well. I keep scrolling through here. Let's see. Can someone have a Kundalini awakening but not fully opened third eye, or the two go hand in hand? Kundalini awakening and third eye awakening are two separate initiations. So you can have your Kundalini awakened and not have a fully opened third eye, and you can have your third eye opened but not have Kundalini awakened. Now, from my experience though, these two were hand in hand because I was at a program with my guru that the initiations came basically one after another, one day and then the next day. But they aren't required. I would say Kundalini awakening is the base requirement for any sort of spiritual powers to express, or any sort of higher states of consciousness to really express. Unless you're Kundalini awakened, you won't have that opportunity, in my opinion, from my experience, because I never have felt such euphoric bliss in my life until my Kundalini was awakened. Then after that, my third eye was opened. And when my third eye was opened, I never had such intuition. I never had such vision with body scanning or I never did body scanning before, but I never had certain experiences of third eye until my third eye was opened through Diksha, through my guru's initiation. I knew about third eye, and I did third eye meditations, focusing on this light and blue ball of energy. And I felt energy there, but nothing like after my Diksha, or my guru's Diksha, when he initiated my third eye and opened my third eye. And so the two don't go hand in hand, Kundalini and third eye, but they do in a sense as well. So I thought that was a really good question, and I appreciate the person that was asking that. Then they actually went on to ask one more thing. When the third eye opens up fully, does the crown chakra open up automatically, or more advanced practices must be done to activate the chakra as well? So the third, just because one chakra is awakened, it doesn't mean that all others are all of a sudden expressing more. And the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, it's actually more of like a nozzle, like an opening. It's not this chakra that needs to be awakened and opened, and you need to focus time and energy to express that chakra, like you do with your other chakras, such as the Muladhara, etc. And so the crown chakra, I would take that aside and say the best thing that you could do for crown chakra is have jatas and tie your jatas on top of your Sahasrara chakra, on top of your head. And that is the best way to have this chakra open. But the third eye chakra has no relation to Sahasrara in a sense. You can work and spend time on opening and energizing certain energy centers, but the Sahasrara doesn't really have the same effect or the same purpose, the same potential as other energy centers. So it's just, think of it like a hose, a nozzle, and you're watering your garden or something. The water is just going to come out of the hose, right? The Kundalini energy, the water that's within you, is going to come out anyways. And it just needs to flow through as long as there's no blocks. Each chakra is blocking that energy though. But once it gets to the end of the nozzle, that's the Sahasrara chakra. It's just going to exit out. So you need like an exit point in a, excuse me, in a sense. And the Sahasrara chakra, again, when you have your jatas, when you have hair tied up on the top of your head, it brings this awareness here. Just like when we have kumkum on our third eye, it brings an awareness there. There's a subtle pressure there that helps keep your awareness there. That's a way of opening up and expressing that chakra, expressing that energy, allowing that energy to flow through as well. One more question, then I'll come back to the live questions. Where was it? For someone to reach moksha, there it is. For someone to reach moksha, liberation, how much enlightened must she be? I wasn't really sure how to answer this question, because there is different states and expressions of consciousness. There's different states of samadhi. And even if you achieve enlightenment, it's this continuous expansion still. Just as the Big Bang, our planet, the cosmos itself is continuously expanding. It hasn't stopped. And the same thing goes with your enlightenment. Once you become enlightened, it's not this state where, okay, I'm done, I can just chill out and I did it. You're continuously expanding. You're continuously growing. And so moksha and liberation, although they do exist, and that when you achieve them, it's like end game, like you get this choice of, do I want to come back or not? But that doesn't mean that in this birth that you're going to stop expanding. The purpose is to continuously expand. And once we get to that state, we'll also have that understanding. And then even if you do achieve moksha, liberation, you may be an avatar where you become enlightened in this body, but you still decide to come back to Bhuloka, to this third dimensional reality, and again become enlightened, and again doing this because you want to not only continuously expand you. It's not about you. It's about expanding and enriching others. There's one story that Swamiji has told. There's these three people, and they discover this really massive wall. They live in this village, and they come across this really massive wall, but it's too high. And so they stand on top of one another, and one person stands there, another person stands on his shoulders, and then the third person stands up and then looks over this wall and is like, oh my gosh, like, wow. And then jumps over the wall, and the other two never see him again. This person achieved moksha, achieved liberation in a sense. And these two other people they're like, well, what's over there? Like he didn't come back. And so the two people talked, and they're like, okay, so you go, but if you go, you got to come back, and you got to come back and get me no matter what. And the other person's like, okay. And so they find this rock, and then they stand on top of that, and then the other person stands on top, and then that other individual, or the second individual, gets over and is like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And he jumps over the wall, and then the individual never comes back again. And here's that final person. He's by himself, and he's like, these two people, they both left, and I have no idea where they are. That what's over that wall? And so this person builds up all this might in him, and he finds another stone, and he somehow balances it on top of this first stone, and then he climbs up, and then he's able to just get his hand up over top of this wall, and then he climbs over, and he goes, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And he starts to jump over the wall, I should say, and then he stops and he says, no, there's an entire village of people behind me that need to see this. I can't go over this wall without showing them that this is a possibility for them to experience as well. And so the person comes back, and he goes to their village, and he tells everybody about this whole different reality on the other side of the wall. That being is an avatar. He could have become enlightened. He did become enlightened, but he chooses to come back still again to let everybody else know that, hey, there's this other beautiful reality on the other side of this wall, and you have to go and experience. Let's all work together. Let's get over that wall. That is what an avatar is. That is the other two people. Yes, they became enlightened. They experienced moksha, but true enlightenment, a true avatar, is just continuously always thinking about other beings to enrich. And I'm not saying that all enlightened beings are like this. Please don't take that out of context. But an avatar is somebody that continuously comes down, achieves enlightenment, and continues to enrich and give back. And there are other enlightened beings that do this as well. And surely there's multiple beings like this on the planet today. But that was just one of those really incredible stories that I came across, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I think it has a lot of power behind it, and that's what makes me proud to be living the lifestyle of Sanatana Hindu Dharma as well, because I like to think that even though I haven't been on the other side of the wall running around all liberated and everything, I've got a glimpse of what's over there. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to just help enrich and try and show people that there's other things on, or there's this other reality on a different side of this wall, and that I really, really think you would like to experience it too. And so that's why I'm here. So I thought that was a really pertinent question. I thought I would share that story. And I know I'm not sharing the story perfectly, but I think you can all understand the gist of it, right? So I'll run through some of these questions that we got here today. We're already at 46 minutes. These live Q&As fly by. If you guys are enjoying this as well, please let me know. I feel like you are, and I have an awesome time doing this. I love connecting with you all. And excuse me, I plan on doing more and more live streams just to engage with you all a little bit more. I think it's a lot easier to do that. And I like to, as I say, engage with you just to get to know you all. Zoran, for instance, he's been following the channel for some time. I appreciate you, my friend. Always like chatting with you. You're a brave man too. Tiana, love you and your wife. Thanks for sharing live. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We love you too. Honestly, we love all the non-abusers. We still love abusers, but in a different way. Appreciate your work. Thanks, Kashan. Much appreciated. There is no spoon. Daryl, there is no spoon. Yes. People are spoon bending, by the way. This is one of the powers. No, I have not bent any spoons myself yet, but people are bending spoons. This is a power that I've seen, and it is real. Danny, yes, nobody can take away your experiential truth. Everybody know, what it's like to go to the bathroom. You know what that feels like. Nobody can take that away, right? You know what it feels like to go to the gym and to experience the tapas, to go through the tapas of putting your body through so much pain. And being a professional athlete, it was nothing but tapas. It was nothing but just grueling workouts. But at the end of the workout, there's this sweet pain and it feels so good. And you go home and you can look in the mirror and you can look at your body and be like, I look good. And then even for me, my hockey career, I kept making it to the next level. And I enjoyed the benefits of going through all this tapas. And life is about knowing what you're going through, knowing your experiences, and enjoying the results. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the results of it. Don't do it for those results. Do it for the sake of doing it. But the results, when you're detached, they are truly truly blissful. And I can say this, this was what my experience was with my athletic career, but taken to a whole nother level with spirituality. The tapas that you go through as a disciple of Swamiji, the prasad on the other side is quite delicious. Ma Karbri, Namaskaram. Do you have any thoughts on Sadhguru Jagi Vasudev? Yes, I'm a supporter of him, 100%. I mean, I came across Sadhguru before Swamiji, I think, and I think what he's doing for humanity is absolutely incredible, especially with the Indian water crisis. If you don't know, there's a major water crisis in India, and his Sangha has taken on a really integral part of solving that problem. And even Swamiji has said publicly that he is supporting him in that, and wants to and did send help as much as he can. Swamiji's Sangha isn't as big as Sadhgurus, but I know he sent people to help in support of that as well. So I'm a supporter of Sadhguru. I was not a supporter of some of the things he did a few years ago. It sounded a lot like he was attacking Swamiji. Whether that actually happened or not, I may have jumped the gun, and so I take back anything that maybe. And I took a video down that kind of called him out on that, and I retract those statements. I was wrong. I'm wrong sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. But I think he's absolutely a positive light for humanity. For me, though, the reason why I didn't get attracted to Sadhguru or become his more of a serious follower of his was because his teachings were more, from my experience, more day-to-day reality. But for some, I can just say deep down somewhere within me, I was seeking something a little bit more, and I was seeking this complete and utter devotion to God. And I don't know why, but I didn't have that click with him. And I know he has people that have taken sannyas under him, and he does have very serious followers and serious disciples. And but we all have a connection to a master, whether past life, maybe this life for your first time, and your being knows which guru is yours, and which guide is really yours. And Sadhguru, as I said, I'm pretty sure I came across him before Swamiji, and I appreciate his guidance in guiding me. But ultimately, it was towards Swamiji, and so I have nothing but support for Sadhguru, and again, what he's doing, his mission. He's got a very large sangha, very large following as well, and there's nothing but positive things to say for him. So I appreciate that question. Kashan, how long do I have to meditate each day? So there's a few different ways of looking at this. For instance, in the Kamika Agama, it says to meditate for 48 minutes at the beginning of Brahma Muhurta, and you should be meditating on Shiva. So if you want to follow Shastra Pramana in this Agama, it says 48 minutes at the beginning of each day. However, and that's you're never going to go wrong with following Shastra Pramana. But for instance, let's say you're a disciple of Swamiji. So for me, for instance, Swamiji has a meditation after his satsang every night. So he'll give us a spiritual truth, and he'll ask us to internalize it, which is, or first we listen to his satsang, which is Shravana. Then we internalize it, and this is a part of our meditation. He goes, meditate on this, meditate on this, meditate on this, contemplate, internalize. This is mananas. And when you do this, you're chewing on these cognitions. Then the third aspect is nididhyasana, where you express it and you live this truth. And so every day we do this as a part of Swamiji's, our daily routine. And then beyond that, he encourages us to practice the Mahavakya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, and to be going on chanting this continuously for, he says, until sunrise to sunset, 16,000 times a day or 160,000 times a day. I can't remember the exact number, but basically chewing on this japa japa, which is another form of meditation. And somebody has showed me a video the other day that, Swamiji has said that meditation is a joke, but they're taking that out of context. When I say Swamiji said meditation is a joke, I mean in the sense that sitting and just focusing on thoughts and just watching thoughts go by. Because in this time, you have to understand that we're in Kali Yuga. We're just coming out of Kali Yuga, that Maya is very thick. The reality is very dense. Mind is heavy. It's really easy to be confused in this day and age. There was a golden age, and then we went into a dark age, and we're kind of just starting to come out, but there's still, like, the mind is very strong. We become confused easily. Thoughts are continuously sporadic, just with the way the cosmos is aligned, that this material world is very heavy on our consciousness. So it is more of a challenge to sit down and meditate today than it is, or than it was, say, 10,000 years ago when we lived in an enlightened society. So that's why, in a sense, meditation itself is a joke. But this, don't take this out of context. Lord Shiva himself says in the Kamika Agama to practice meditation. But again, as I said earlier, Paramahamsa Yogananda, he's teaching Kriya Yoga. My guru doesn't. And Lord Shiva himself says, why practice, or why bother practicing Kriya Yoga when you can just listen to Guru? But then there's another scripture that says you should do Kriya Yoga. So in Hinduism, there's a lot of things that contradict one another, and you have to really kind of weave your way through to find what's right for you. But ultimately, from my experience, Guru is God. Guru knows exactly how to guide you. And when you're willing to open up and trust in that, whether it's your meditation practice, whether it's your yoga practice, whether it's the way you live your life, if you're willing to listen to your guru, they can look at you and they can tell you and give you the exact guidance that you need. And a lot of times that is expressed through giving you, for instance, a spiritual name. But that's a whole another topic, so I won't dive into that. But that was a really good question. So thank you for asking that. Oh no, I lost my place. So I'll go with this question. Gaja, how many jatas is best? So in Agama, there's a number of different jatas that you can have. I believe the first number is 3, and I believe the last number is 80. And then there's a few other numbers in between. I would have to find the exact scriptural reference to let you know which jatas you should have. For instance, for me, I'm thinning a little bit. My hair is thinning a little bit as I'm getting older. And so I'm not going to have 80 on the top of this crown, but I would say always the more, the better. Having 3 jatas, you're just not going to have the same weight on your head as you would with 80. Again, this is about bringing an awareness to the crown center. This is about your jatas are antennas for consciousness. Do you want a big antenna? Probably. And so I would say, if you're asking how many jatas are best, I would say the most that you can have on your head. If you can get 80 on there, I would say maybe go for that. But again, there are specific numbers that you should have. The least being 3, and I believe the most being 80. But don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but I will try and look that up and see if I can find that pramana for you. So that was a really good question. Man, I'm sorry, everybody, but I totally lost my place on this when you guys keep commenting. So I'm going to bounce around with some of these questions. We're at 58 minutes. If you guys want, I'll continue talking for, let's say, another 15 minutes or so. I guess you can leave whenever you want, but I'll take another 15 minutes or so here, okay? Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to find that exact spot I was at. Alan Nithyananda, thanks for being here. Okay, Kashan, I want to talk about this. This is pertinent for a lot of people. I know I've already answered one of your questions, but I'm trying my best to stop suicidal thoughts. It's just sometimes I'm in my worst depressed mode, and that's totally understandable. Like I just said, and Swamiji said this actually, the current state of humanity, the first thing that we're going to come across actually is boredom. More and more people are going to become more and more bored. And then after boredom, more and more people are going to become depressed. And if you look already, depression is completely out of hand. It has skyrocketed over the last, I would say, 15 years or so. I don't know actual numbers. I could pull that up maybe, but we know that depression is growing and that it's only getting worse. And so if you are struggling with depression, with being bored, I can't stress enough for you to make sure that you are living life. And what I mean by that is engaging with life. And what I mean by engaging with life is just being involved with others around you, with events happening around you. When we get depressed, we just come more and more and more into ego, more and more into ourselves, and we get more and more locked up, and we just shrivel up like a ball. The only way to counteract that is to open ourselves up and start engaging and being involved with life, and to create, and you might not know what that it means for you, but create anything, create something. Do for instance, make an artistic video, make a painting, find anything that gives you a subtle sense of inspiration, a subtle sense of joy. Do that. Now, this is a blanket answer for everybody. It's not the exact answer that one person might need, but it is a solution that helps everybody, and that is to get involved and to be a part of others' lives, go on enriching others. The more that you're going to do that, the more that you will come out. I'm saying a lot lately, and this wasn't, I didn't come up with this, but attention is your currency now. It's not, money isn't the ultimate currency, attention is. And so with these big apps like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, it's all about keeping you on their platform to suck your attention into living this little lifestyle of within a box. The more you do that, though, the more that you're going to see other people doing things that's going to increase your depression. And more it's what's the word that I'm looking for? The more that it's supporting your boredom, the more that you're encouraging boredom. We are meant for so much more. The body, the intelligence that you are operating this system in is incredible. Live life through it. Live life to your fullest by engaging with life in any way. And again, that could mean something completely different from one person to another, but find one thing that you enjoy. If you enjoy going for a run, go for a run. If you enjoy reading, read. If you enjoy, let's say, making food for people, take action to make more food for people. And that's the only way that you can really start to bring yourself out of that depression. Now, again, there's other practices that can be involved. Samskara Dahana Kriya, for instance, the completion process, where you find the core source of that depression, the core source of that boredom. What event has happened in your life? What events have happened in your life that are just still sitting in your system? You need to get rid of those. You need to pull those weeds out as well. And so I would also start there with practicing the completion process. And if you type in completion process Nithyananda in YouTube, you can have that system freely by my guru. And this isn't something that he's come up with, but this is the Samskara Dahana Kriya, which is a part of yours as well. So I would definitely start with that if you're struggling with boredom, if you're struggling with depression. So I hope that helps. I want to give a shout out to Shelby. We are in oneness. Yes, we are all in oneness. Advaita. Will you do a Diwali vlog? You guys want me to do a vlog? Okay, I'll do a vlog. I did a vlog the other day of going to the gym, so it seemed like it was taken all right. People enjoyed, so maybe I'll do a Diwali vlog today. So thank you for saying that, Bhuwana. That video will be dedicated to you, okay? Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it. Great live stream. Thank you. Shelby, thank you. Fantastic information. Anybody wants to keep giving the comments, compliments, just, keep letting them come. I'll show those all day, I'm kidding. Tell about the Anandas so you don't do live streams there. Yes. Zeman, thank you. There's 52 people here on this live stream right now. If you're on this live stream and you have not yet subscribed to the Ananda's YouTube channel, please go to the Ananda's YouTube channel, open up a new window right now and type in the Anandas, THE space ANANDA. I'm sure I'll come up after that, the Anandas. But that is my wife and I's channel. We want to do live streams there. We've started a podcast, Yoga from the Source, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. And just as in this video, we like to engage with you guys. We like to hear your questions and give in the moment answers. And so if you're tired of just listening to me, you can come and listen to both of us on that podcast and or that YouTube channel. But again, we're at about 960 subscribers, and you can't do live streams until you're at 1,000. So if there's 50 people here and you haven't all subscribed, that can help put us over the top. So thanks, Zimon. I appreciate that. You guys are always looking out for us. Love it. Noel, I appreciate that. He says, I love listening to you, Bliss Athlete. Thanks, Noel. I appreciate that. Daryl donated $2. Thank you. Or £2. What is that, like $3.50? Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that. I definitely don't do this for the money, everybody, and I'm not expecting anybody to donate anything. Subash. I want to live energetic and enthusiastic. I experienced it with the help of yoga only sometimes, some glimpse, but not permanent. How to make this permanent? Okay, so Subash, you said you've experienced it with the help of yoga only sometimes. Sometimes means that you've had a result, though. It means it's worked. So I know you're probably not maybe into baseball, but baseball, for instance, if a batter goes up and hits the ball 3 times out of 10, that's a 300% batting average, which is a really good batting average. So they're going to strike out 7 times out of 10. Now, I don't want to completely correlate spiritual practice to that, but hypothetically, let's say that you practiced yoga 10 days straight and you had a really euphoric experience or a powerful energetic experience 3 times. In the baseball world, that would be like, whoa, you're doing awesome. You're doing great. But the problem is after 10 times, I'm assuming that you're not practicing yoga consistently. And if that's the case, then I would start going up to the plate, going up to the batter's box more, because you're only going to increase your energy and you're only going to increase your ability or opportunity to express higher energies. Now, again, I really don't like the fact that I use that analogy really, but just to give you an understanding that you're not always going to have this like enlightening experience, but sometimes even for myself, it does happen. All of a sudden I'll just be on the mat and I get overwhelmed with bliss. And if anybody else here practices Nithyananda Yoga on a consistent basis as well, you know what I'm talking about. You know how euphoric it can be. And if you're practicing yoga and you're getting a euphoric experience or an energetic experience, sometimes that's great. Continue doing it. Now, another thing you can do is when you say yoga, now when somebody ever tells me that they practice yoga, I don't know how to take that, because for me, from my experience, if you're practicing hatha yoga, if you're practicing beer yoga, if you're practicing booty yoga, goat yoga, I don't know what type of yoga you're referring to. And from my experience, I don't know any other authentic or any form of yoga that is as authentic as Nithyananda Yoga. It is the original yoga. Yes, Patanjali was the father of yoga. He was not the founder, though. The original yoga is Shashtanga Yoga, not Ashtanga Yoga. Shashtanga Yoga, the guru's presence is a requirement, which is why in Nithyananda Yoga, we have Swamiji's Murti. The guru is always there because the guru is the one that awakens Kundalini. The guru is the one that you will experience energy flow through you because it's guru's energy. It's not this energy that you're somehow like incorporating into your body. It's divine energy. And so practice authentic yoga and practice it with full integrity. And I can guarantee you, you'll experience a greater scale of energy within you. So if you're experiencing energy sometimes from yoga, but not all the time, I would ask, what do you mean by yoga? And I would say, practice authentic yoga first and foremost. And then from there, make sure that you're doing it consistently. And then there's a lot of other things that you could be incorporating. Like, are you doing it during Brahma Muhurta? Are you performing Panchakriyas before as well? Because that's going to allow energy to flow through you better. The nadis are going to open up more if you're performing bandhas with more integrity. Are you performing japa japas throughout the sequence? There's a lot of things that you can, that we could look at and dissect for each individual and say, you know, if you're not experiencing high energy always, then let's look at how we're practicing. How are you really being authentic with it? Are you really being fully integrated to your practice? And I can just say from my experience, the more integrated you are, and the more you refine and look at the details of your practice, that is really what's happening. It's a blessing. If you have an experience with something and it's kind of gone away, well, look in, like, what did I do last time that maybe I'm not doing this time? Is there something else I could be doing? I didn't, did I apply Aushadha? Did I have kumkum on my third eye? Maybe that's why I didn't feel the energy there. Did I apply Bhasma on my skin? Did I cognize myself as beyond this body? Did I really perform the intention, the sankalpa, with full integrity? Did I really want to manifest the state and space of Paramashiva? There's a lot of things that you can look in and contemplate on. So I would always ask you to just look in and assess, am I really doing all these things to allow the energy to flow through me a little bit more strongly or more powerfully, or however it is that you're looking to experience the divine through your practice. So thank you for that question, Subhash. Okay, so we got time for maybe one or two more. Will you be doing a Diwali blog? I just came across. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a tough time sticking with you all. John of God of Brazil. That's a good question. So I don't know a ton about John of God of Brazil. From my understanding, he is a healer. He is a doctor, and he does divine healings. I believe he said, is it through Christ or Jesus? Or I feel like it was a Christian being that he allows to have operate through him. And I believe he does not take any money for his healings. If this is true, and if I'm remembering correctly, I'm a big supporter of what he's doing. He's a healer. He is healing thousands of people's lives, I think almost on a daily basis. He sees a lot of people every day. I saw a documentary where he had a massive line of individuals providing healings. And so I think, without a doubt, anybody that is enriching, healing, improving the lives of others, taking away pain from others, and not attributing that to themselves as he has. He says it's just divine working through him. It's not him doing anything. He's not healing at all. He's allowing God to flow through and heal him. And he'll do a lot of different weird things, like with the people, and from what I've seen. And because of that, he's detached ego from his healings. He's, from my perception, is he's doing an incredible thing for humanity, and he's an amazing being. He is not a practicing Hindu, and I believe he's practicing a form of Christianity. I could be wrong with that. I can't 100% remember, but regardless, what he's doing is incredible, and I'm a big supporter of that. And if you don't know about John of God in Brazil, I would actually, recommend learning a little bit about what he's doing. But this is a science that is also mastered in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. There's a lot of Ayurvedic doctors that are doing similar things that aren't as popular as John of God. But I've also come across a few documentaries showing a lot of these other healers as well. And so big support of John of God, though, and love what he's doing. Okay, so it's nearly an hour and 15 minutes. So I'll end this live stream right now. If you guys tuned in, I really do appreciate your time. Again, if you are new here, always feel free to comment. I really try and do my best to look through the comments and respond to each individual and answer those questions. Sometimes I'll answer it on the spot. Sometimes I'll say, hey, I'll do that in the live Q&A. Every Saturday, I'll be doing these live streams at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, I'll be doing more collaboration live streams as well, engaging with other fellow Sangha members. I've got a few people lined up that I'm communicating with as well. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be interviewing somebody named Conscious Muscle. He's a vegan and he's a bodybuilder. My guru is talking a lot about building a heavy body, so I thought I'd like to bring on somebody that can help you build your body. So if that's something you're interested in, be on the lookout for that. I have also in talks with Nimai Delgado. If you don't know who Nimai Delgado is, he's a pro bodybuilder as well here in California. So I'm hoping to have him on the channel soon too to help you build your body. As you can tell, I like building the body. I'm a supporter of that, just as my guru is enriching and telling everybody else to be building a powerful, heavy yogic body. I believe weightlifting and strength training has its place. If there's anybody else that you would like me to try and reach out to and collab with, feel free to let me know as well. And I'll do my best to connect with them too. And again, when you guys tune in live, I really do appreciate that. It's great to sit and chat with you and get to hear your questions in the moment and answer those. And I appreciate you listening and being here and allowing me the opportunity to impact your life and enrich you in a positive way. And so thank you very much for that. And with that, I will end it there. As always, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Be blissful, Nithyananda, and I'll end with the Puna mantra, and we'll see you guys on the next video. So take care, everybody. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyade. Om Shanti 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 Hadi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sadguru Paruka Paramastu. Om Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys again next week. Bye. Bye. And check out my stories. I'm singing a lot these days. Okay? I like to sing 90s music, though. Not always just, the new stuff and not always just chanting. I like 90s music, too. We'll see you all.